The bullies thought they could assault the quiet new girl. They had no idea who they were messing with. Maya Restrepo clutched her messenger bag against her chest as she entered Riverside High School. At 17, she barely reached 5 feet tall, with dark hair falling across her face like a curtain. Her oversized sweater and baggy jeans made her appear even smaller, thick-rimmed glasses completing the picture of an easy target. Just keep your head down, she reminded herself. Don't make eye contact. Don't draw attention. Just survive. What her new classmates couldn't see beneath her unremarkable exterior was 12 years of rigorous training. Maya had been practicing Krav Maga since age 5 when her military father decided his daughter needed to protect herself. By 15, she'd earned her black belt. By 16, she was competing in underground fighting circuits, her small stature making opponents consistently underestimate her lethal capabilities. But fighting drew attention. Attention led to questions. Questions led to problems. So Maya had learned to hide. The hallways buzzed with Monday morning chaos. Students clustered around lockers, voices creating a cacophony that tensed Maya's shoulders. She navigated through the crowd, noting the layout with tactical precision. Main hallway led to cafeteria on the right, gymnasium ahead, library left. Multiple exit routes, good sightlines. Stop thinking like a fighter, she scolded herself. You're just a regular student now. Well, what do we have here? The voice cut through Maya's mental mapping like a blade. 3 boys blocked her path, led by someone who clearly considered himself king of this castle. He was tall and broad-shouldered, with perfectly styled blonde hair and the confident smirk of someone who'd never faced real consequences. I'm Derek Morrison, he announced, and you're the new girl. Maya nodded quietly, trying to step around them. Derek moved to block her path, his companions flanking him like wolves. The shorter one on the left had a cruel laugh. The heavier one on the right cracked his knuckles with obvious intent. Not so fast, sweetheart, Derek continued, eyes scanning her in a way that made Maya's skin crawl. This is Marcus and Tyler. We like to welcome new students personally. Other students flowed around them like water around rocks, avoiding eye contact. Teachers seemed conveniently absent from this hallway stretch. I'm Maya, she said quietly. I should get to class. Plenty of time for that, Derek replied. First, let's talk about how things work here. Maya felt the familiar adrenaline surge that preceded violence. Muscles automatically calculating distances and angles. She forced herself to remain still. You can't fight, not on the first day. New students need to understand the hierarchy, Marcus chimed in, his laugh grating against Maya's nerves. And where they fit in. Tyler stepped closer, using his bulk to crowd Maya against the lockers. Spoiler alert, princess, you're at the bottom. Maya's hands twitched involuntarily, muscle memory wanting to drive her elbow into Tyler's solar plexus. Instead, she ducked her head and mumbled, I understand. Derek's grin widened. Good girl. I think we're going to get along just fine. The bell rang. Derek and his crew stepped back, but not before Derek leaned close enough that Maya could smell his expensive cologne. See you around, Maya, he whispered, her name sounding like a threat. The rest of Maya's first day passed in a blur, but she couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. During lunch, she chose a corner table, back to the wall, clear view of entrances. Old habits died hard. She was halfway through a sandwich when her isolation was shattered by the screech of chair legs. Mind if we sit? Derek asked, already settling across from her. Marcus and Tyler flanked him, lunch trays hitting the table, with deliberate force. Actually, I was just... Maya began. Leaving? Derek interrupted. Nonsense. We're getting to know each other. Other students suddenly found their conversations fascinating, though Maya caught several stealing glances. She recognized the look, part curiosity, part relief that someone else was the target. So Maya, Derek continued, stabbing his pasta violently, where'd you transfer from? Washington, Maya replied quietly. Washington, Marcus repeated mockingly. Fancy. Daddy got transferred and poor little Maya had to leave her friends? Maya's jaw tightened almost imperceptibly. Her father had been transferred, but not for work. The last incident had been complicated. Something like that, she murmured. Tyler leaned forward, massive frame casting a shadow. What's your story, new girl? You seem different. Different. The word chilled Maya's spine. Different was dangerous. Different meant questions. I'm not different, she said quickly. Just quiet. Derek's eyes gleamed with predatory interest. Everyone's got something special, Maya. What's yours? I could kill all 3 of you before you realized what was happening, Maya thought. Out loud, I like to read. The boys exchanged glances that promised trouble. Derek leaned back, smile sharp as broken glass. Reading. How quaint. He took Maya's apple without asking. You know what I think? You're hiding something. Maya's phone buzzed. How's the new school, kiddo? Remember what we talked about. Control, restraint, fitting in. I should go, Maya said, reaching for her tray. Derek's hand shot out, gripping her wrist hard enough to leave marks. I didn't say you could leave. For a heartbeat, Maya stared at his hand. 12 years of training screamed at her to break his grip, make him understand touching her was a mistake. Instead, she met his eyes with practiced meekness. Please let go, she said softly. Derek held her gaze before releasing her with a laugh. Of course. We're all friends here, right? Maya nodded, gathered her things, and walked away. Behind her, she heard Marcus say something about breaking in the new girl, followed by laughter that made her skin crawl. The next few weeks fell into a predictable harassment pattern. Derek and his crew made tormenting Maya their hobby. They appeared at her locker between classes, commenting on her clothes, appearance, obvious friendlessness. In the cafeteria, they'd accidentally bump into her, sending her tray clattering, while apologizing with exaggerated sincerity. Maya endured it all with practiced silence, even as her father's training whispered increasingly violent solutions. The worst part wasn't the harassment. She'd faced worse at previous schools. The worst part was how other students actively avoided her, as if being Derek's target was contagious. Teachers either didn't notice or didn't care. Maya recognized escalation signs, and by the third week she felt the situation building toward something worse. Derek was getting bolder, comments more personal, accidental contact more frequent and inappropriate. She wasn't surprised when it finally happened. Maya was gathering books from her locker after school when she heard Derek's familiar laughter, echoing down the nearly empty hallway. Well, well, Derek's voice carried clearly. Look who's still here. Maya didn't turn around, continuing to organize her bag. Maybe if she ignored them, they'd get bored. Hey, Maya, Marcus called. We're talking to you. Just keep packing. Don't engage. She felt them approaching before she saw them, that predatory presence making her skin crawl. Derek appeared beside her locker, leaning against the adjacent door with casual arrogance. You know, Maya, he said conversationally, I've been thinking about you. Tyler positioned himself on her other side, boxing her in. Marcus blocked the nearest exit. We've been trying to be friendly, Derek continued, but you keep acting like you're too good for us. Maya turned to face him, expression carefully neutral. I never said that. No, but you act like it, Tyler rumbled. Like you think you're better than everyone. I don't think that, Maya said quietly. I just want to be left alone. Derek's laugh was cold. Nobody gets to be alone here. This is our school and everyone pays their dues. What kind of dues? Maya asked, though she had a sinking feeling. Derek's smile turned predatory. The fun kind. Maya's training kicked in automatically, cataloging threats and escape routes. 3 opponents, all larger, limited space, no witnesses, multiple potential weapons if needed. Don't fight unless you have to. But if you have to fight, don't hold back. I should get home, Maya said, trying to step past Derek. His hand shot out, pressing against the locker beside her head, pinning her in place. Not yet, sweetheart. We're just getting started. Tyler moved closer, close enough that Maya could smell his awful breath. Your problem is you're uptight. You need to relax. Let me pass, Maya said, voice still quiet but with an edge that made Derek's eyes narrow. Or what? He challenged. What are you going to do? Maya met his gaze steadily. Please move. Derek leaned closer, face inches from hers. Make me. That's when Tyler's hand moved to Maya's lower back, sliding down with obvious intent. Don't, Maya said sharply, voice carrying a warning Derek was too arrogant to recognize. Don't what? Tyler grinned, hand moving lower. This? His palm connected with Maya's backside in an unmistakably sexual assault. Maya went perfectly still. In that moment of crystalline clarity, she felt something snap inside her chest. Not break, snap into place, like a lock finding its key. Enough. Tyler was still grinning when Maya's elbow drove into his ribs with surgical precision, hitting the exact pressure point for maximum pain without permanent damage. His grunt was cut short as Maya's foot swept his legs, sending him crashing down. Derek barely registered what was happening before Maya spun toward him, small frame suddenly radiating lethal intent. Her open palm strike caught him in the solar plexus, driving air from his lungs in a whoosh of shock. Marcus lunged forward, trying to grab Maya from behind. She ducked under his reaching arms, pivoted, and drove her knee into his thigh, targeting the pressure point that would temporarily paralyze his leg. As he stumbled, Maya's follow-up strike to his shoulder sent him spinning into the lockers with a resounding crash. Tyler struggled to his feet, face red with rage. "Are you little bitch?" Maya's back fist caught him across the face before he could finish, precise and controlled, but with enough force to snap his head back. Blood flowed from his nose as he crumpled. Derek was gasping, trying to recover his breath, when Maya grabbed his shirt and slammed him against the lockers. The sound of metal meeting bone echoed like a gunshot. "Listen very carefully," Maya said, voice deadly quiet. "If you ever touch me again, if you ever touch anyone like that again, I will put you in the hospital. Do you understand?" Derek stared in shock, suddenly seeing past the glasses and oversized clothes to the predator hiding underneath. You can't." "I can and I will," Maya said, tightening her grip. "I've been holding back because I wanted to give you a chance to be better. That was a mistake." Tyler struggled to sit up, blood streaming. "You're crazy." Maya turned to him without releasing Derek. "I'm not crazy, I'm trained. There's a difference." Marcus groaned from the lockers, leg still not responding. What are you?" "I'm someone you should have left alone," Maya replied simply. She looked back at Derek, pressed against the lockers like a pinned butterfly. "Here's how this works. You're going to leave me alone. You're going to leave everyone else alone too. And if I hear about you bothering anyone the way you've been bothering me, I will find you." "You can't threaten us," Derek wheezed, voice lacking earlier confidence. Maya's smile was sharp as winter. "I'm not threatening you. I'm educating you. There's a difference." She released Derek and stepped back, watching all three boys struggle to process what had happened. Tyler bleeding, Marcus partially paralyzed, Derek looking like he'd seen a ghost. "I tried to be nice," Maya said, adjusting her glasses with steady hands. "I tried to fit in. I tried to be invisible, but you couldn't. Leave well enough alone." Other students gathered at both hallway ends, drawn by commotion. Maya could hear whispers starting, the kind that would reshape Riverside High's entire social hierarchy. "My father taught me violence should be a last resort," Maya continued, picking up her bag. "But he also taught me that when someone crosses certain lines, you respond with overwhelming force. You cross those lines." Derek slumped against the lockers, finally understanding his fundamental miscalculation. Who are you?" Maya paused at the gathering crowd's edge, turning back to look at her would-be tormentors with something that might have been pity. "I'm the girl you should have been nice to," she said simply. The crowd parted as Maya walked through, head held high for the first time since arriving at Riverside High. Behind her, she could hear Derek trying to explain to Tyler and Marcus how they'd handle this, but his voice lacked former authority. Let them try, Maya thought. I'm done hiding. The next morning, Maya arrived to find hallways buzzing with whispered conversations that stopped when she passed. Students who'd previously looked through her now watched with awe and wariness. Derek and his crew were noticeably absent from their usual post. Maya made her way to her locker, aware of the space forming around her as students gave her wide berth. She was organizing books when a voice spoke behind her. That was incredible. Maya turned to see a girl her age with short red hair and an infectious grin. She looked familiar, maybe from chemistry class. I'm sorry, Maya said. Yesterday, what you did to Derek and his goons. The girl's grin widened. I'm Jessica, and I wanted to say thank you. Thank you? Jessica nodded enthusiastically. Derek's been making life miserable for half the school for years. Nobody ever stood up to him. You didn't just beat him up, you made him look weak in front of everyone. That changes everything. Other students were listening now, no longer pretending to ignore the conversation. Maya could see mixed expressions: admiration, fear, curiosity, and hope. He had it coming, said a boy from her English class. Someone needed to put him in his place. But now what? Asked another voice. What if he comes back worse? Maya turned to address the growing crowd. He won't, she said with quiet confidence, because now he knows I'm not helpless, and more importantly, now you all know it too. Jessica grinned. So what's your story? Where'd you learn to fight like that? Maya considered her answer. The old instinct was to deflect, minimize, hide, but she was tired of hiding. My father's military, she said finally. He taught me to defend myself. That was more than self-defense, observed a tall girl with braided hair. That was professional level. Maya shrugged. I've been training for a long time. The crowd grew larger, and Maya could see Derek approaching down the hallway, Tyler and Marcus flanking him like wounded bodyguards. Tyler's face was swollen and discolored, Marcus walking with a slight limp. Whispered conversations died as the three boys approached. The assembled students didn't scatter. Instead, they closed ranks around Maya, creating a barrier between her and her former tormentors. Derek looked different. The easy confidence was gone, replaced by something that might have been respect mixed with healthy fear. "Maya," he said quietly, "can we talk?" Maya closed her locker and faced him fully. "We're talking." Derek glanced at the watching crowd. "Maybe somewhere more private?" "I'm fine here," Maya replied. "What did you want to say?" Derek shifted uncomfortably, struggling with words that didn't come naturally. "I wanted to apologize for yesterday, for everything." The hallway was so quiet Maya could hear the distant ventilation hum. "Apologize for what specifically?" Maya asked. Derek's face reddened. For touching you, for bothering you, for being," he struggled with the word, "for being a bully." Maya studied his face, looking for deception or manipulation. What she saw instead was genuine shame and dawning realization of how his behavior had affected others. "And?" Maya prompted. Derek looked confused. "And? What are you going to do differently?" Maya clarified. "An apology without changed behavior is just words." Derek glanced at Tyler and Marcus, both looking anywhere but at Maya. "We're going to leave you alone. Leave everyone alone." "Good," Maya said simply. "Because if you don't, you know what will happen." Derek nodded quickly. "We know." Maya softened slightly, seeing something in Derek's expression that reminded her he was ultimately just a teenager who'd never learned better. "Derek, can I give you advice?" He nodded, looking like a child awaiting instruction. "Being strong doesn't mean making other people feel weak," Maya said. "Real strength is using your power to protect people, not hurt them. You're big, popular, influential. Use it for something better." Derek blinked in surprise, clearly not expecting a life lesson. Okay, I will." Maya looked at Tyler and Marcus. "That goes for both of you too. You have a choice about who you want to be." Tyler touched his swollen nose gingerly. "We get it." Marcus just nodded, still not meeting Maya's eyes. Maya shouldered her bag and started toward first class. The crowd parted to let her through, but she could feel their attention like a warm spotlight. "Maya," Derek called after her. She turned back. Where did you really learn to fight like that?" Maya smiled, and for the first time since arriving at Riverside High, it was real. "Same place you're going to learn to be a better person. Practice." As Maya walked away, she could hear the explosion of conversation behind her. Dozens of voices trying to process what they'd witnessed. She could feel the shift in the air, the way power had just redistributed itself throughout Riverside High's social ecosystem. Her phone buzzed. "How's school going, kiddo?" Maya paused, considering her response. For the first time in years, she felt like she could answer honestly. "Good," she typed back. "I think I'm going to like it here." The rest of the day passed in a blur of altered dynamics. Students who'd never spoken to Maya before introduced themselves. Teachers seemed to notice her for the first time, though Maya suspected word had spread through faculty as well. At lunch, instead of sitting alone, Maya found herself surrounded by students eager to hear her story and share their own experiences. With Derek's harassment, Jessica had appointed herself Maya's unofficial social coordinator. "You know what the best part is?" Jessica said as they walked to afternoon classes. "Derek actually helped clean up Jason's mess in the cafeteria today, voluntarily." Maya raised an eyebrow. "Jason?" "Kid with autism that Derek used to pick on constantly. Derek tripped him yesterday morning. Probably the last person he bullied before meeting you." Jessica grinned. "Today Derek not only helped him clean up but sat with him at lunch. It's like you reprogrammed him." Maya felt warm satisfaction spreading through her chest. Maybe he just needed a different perspective. "Whatever you did, it worked," Jessica said. "The whole school feels different already." That afternoon, as Maya was leaving school, she found Derek waiting by the main entrance. He was alone this time, Tyler and Marcus nowhere to be seen. "Maya," he said as she approached, Could I walk with you for a minute?" Maya nodded, curious about what else he might say. They walked in silence before Derek finally spoke. "I keep thinking about what you said, about using strength to protect people instead of hurt them." "And?" Derek stopped and turned to face her. "I don't think I know how to do that. I've been the way I am and for so long. I don't know how to be different." Maya studied his face, seeing genuine uncertainty. "It's not complicated, Derek. Every time you have a choice between helping someone or hurting them, choose to help. Every time you can build someone up or tear them down, choose to build them up. What if people think I'm weak?" Maya laughed, a sound containing 12 years of understanding. "Derek, the strongest people I know are the ones who use their power to make others stronger. Bullying isn't strength, it's fear, dressed up as confidence." Derek absorbed this silently. "Is that what you do? Use your strength to protect people?" Maya nodded. "When I have to, but most of the time I try to use it to make sure I never have to fight at all. How? By being someone people feel safe around instead of someone they're afraid of, Maya explained. Fear makes people do desperate things. Safety makes them do brave things. Derek looked genuinely thoughtful. I never thought about it that way. Most bullies don't, Maya said gently. They get addicted to the feeling of power and forget there are better ways to feel strong. They'd reached the school property edge. Derek stopped and extended his hand to Maya. I want to start over, he said. Hi, I'm Derek Morrison. I used to be an asshole, but I'm working on being better. Maya shook his hand, surprised by the genuine warmth in his grip. Hi, Derek. I'm Maya Restrepo. I used to hide from people like you, but I'm working on standing up for myself and others. Derek smiled, and for the first time it reached his eyes. I think we're going to get along just fine. As Maya walked home, she reflected on the day's events. For the first time in her life, she hadn't had to choose between fighting and hiding. She'd found a third option, standing her ground while maintaining her values. Her phone buzzed with another text from her father. Everything okay? You sound different in your messages. Maya paused on the sidewalk, considering her response. Finally, she typed, Everything's better than okay, Dad. I think I finally figured out how to use what you taught me. The response came quickly. I'm proud of you, kiddo. Remember, strength without wisdom is just violence. Wisdom without strength is just philosophy. You need both. Maya smiled, pocketing her phone. For the first time in years, she felt like she had both. The following weeks confirmed what Maya had sensed after the confrontation. Everything at Riverside High had changed. Derek had become an unlikely ally, using his social influence to shut down bullying instead of perpetuating it. Tyler and Marcus, following their leader's example, had transformed from predators into something approaching decent human beings. Maya found herself at the center of a new social dynamic, respected not for her ability to inflict violence, but for her willingness to stand up for others. Students came to her with problems, seeking not a fighter but a protector. 3 months after that day in the hallway, Maya stood at the same locker where Derek had cornered her, but everything was different. The hallway buzzed with energy of students who felt safe to be themselves. Jessica was organizing a fundraiser for anti-bullying programs. Derek was tutoring underclassmen in math. Maya had learned the most important lesson of all, that true strength wasn't about defeating your enemies. It was about turning them into allies. And sometimes all it took was someone willing to stand up and say enough to change everything. Her reflection was interrupted by a familiar voice. Maya, Derek approached with his characteristic energy, but now directed toward positive ends. Did you hear? The school board wants to interview you about developing a peer mediation program. Maya smiled, adjusting her glasses. The same glasses she'd hidden behind for so long, now simply part of who she was, instead of a mask to hide behind. That sounds perfect, she said. When do we start?